What's going on? Thanks for coming and checking out my video. Hope you're having a wonderful day. It is a long-awaited video. I've been working hard on this, and hopefully it's helpful. Today's video is about making ISK in Highsec and the method I use to do it. I stream Eve on a Saturday. I stream every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and Saturdays is Eve night. One of the big questions I get asked quite regularly is, how am I making my ISK? What am I doing to make ISK? And my response is always the same thing. I make ISK in Highsec. I make all of my ISK in Highsec, and I do it reasonably safely. And then I'll show the method. This is me doing that in a more condensed format, so you can basically see the method that goes into it, the understanding around the planning, and then the execution. So hopefully this video is helpful. If it is, don't forget to hit the like button, don't forget to hit subscribe, and maybe if you're interested, you can come and check out the stream. Like I said, Eve is on a Saturday night, but I do stream Thursday, Friday, and Saturday starting at 7:30. So by all means, feel free to stop by, ask any questions you've got, and I'll try and help. So we're going to jump into the video right now. First thing I want to do is kind of show you a rough sort of indication. This is about sort of 2.5 weeks worth of farming, so I'll switch scenes real quick. So this is 2.5 weeks worth of site running, and as you can see, we've got a variety of things. I haven't built these yet; they're in the works. But you'll see I've got overseers effects. There's implants in there. There's modules. There's there's a trove of stuff in there. If I'm running the Triglavian sites, which this video isn't about, I've got more stuff here, and this is just, again, I haven't built any of this stuff out yet, but this is me running Triglavian sites. So I've become fairly well practiced in making ISK. I think I've got the method to this narrowed down pretty well. There are a couple of moments where, you know, you're kind of a bit nervous and a bit panicky, but in the main, it's fairly straightforward. It's fairly simple, and it just requires an understanding of the game to start with. You need to understand momentum and stuff like that. But I'm going to touch on some of that now. The first thing is, depending on what section of space you're in, you want to make sure your ship is fit to tank that specific type of damage. So if you're going to be using my method in a Mar or Minmatar space, then you want to be set for EM and kinetic damage. EM and thermal damage, apologies. You want to be set for EM and thermal damage. If you're in Caldari or Galente space, you want to be set for kinetic and thermal. Yeah, you want to be set for kinetic and thermal. Sorry, I'm checking my notes. So make sure your tank is set suitably for those. I'm not necessarily saying that anything you're going to be running into is going to be particularly challenging, but it's always best to be sure that you've got the right setup before you go anywhere. Now, I have pre-recorded footage, which you're about to see pop up in a second, which is going to go through me. I'm basically going to run 45 minutes of doing these sites, and just for full disclosure, the things I got out of it were a mid-grade Hydra Delta blueprint for 220 mil, a C-type multispectral shield hardener, which says here it's 198 mil, but that's just the space I'm in. It's about 250 mil for that. There was a Corelli armor hardener, which was 83 million, I believe. There we go. The Corelli C-type medium armor rep, which was 80 million. And then there was a random faction hardener, which was about 2 mil or something like that. It wasn't massive. But ultimately, 45 minutes, and I'd raised just over $500 million. So this it was kind of a really good run, and I thought I'll use that footage. I may as well. First of all, I'm going to start off by setting my route. That's the big thing for me, getting the route set up and running through that. So I will explain what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So we're going to go ahead and hit play, and hopefully everything should start working as we intend. Now, I'm going to open up the map, and the first thing you want to do when you get into a system is look at what connections you've got. If you've got dead end systems connected to wherever you're starting, add them to your route and add them as a waypoint, not set destination. Once you've done that, you want to pick a 0.5 system at least 13, 14 jumps away, and then add it as a waypoint. Any dead end systems that are connected to it, also add those as waypoints so that you've got the branches that come off of it as well. Once you've done that, you're then going to go and find a route about, I'd say 7, maybe 10 jumps away, and then you're going to add that as another waypoint. This is then going to give you a pretty big, as you can see, a pretty big track in space to kind of run through. Once you've set that final destination, you're going to pick another destination that is roughly, I'd say 15, 16 jumps. Add that as a waypoint, and then start picking and refining your route so that you're picking up the little dead end systems and stuff like that. Ultimately, you want to be aiming for things that are 0.5 to 0.8. You don't want to be going into low sec, and where possible, you want to try and avoid 1.0, 0.9 space, because the drops there are not as lucrative. They don't tend to pay out as well. Once you've set that final destination, you're then going to set your starting point, which is where you've originally started, as your final waypoint. This will give you a big track, and that's our route. This one, as you can see, is 81 jumps, which is perfect. So next, for this bit, we're going to do the scanning. Now, a lot of tutorials that I see on scanning aren't giving you the complete picture. So I'm going to tell you something here that some of you may know and some of you may not know. Whenever you're scanning for a signature in space, and any site that you're looking for will only ever spawn within 4 AU of an orbital body. So if you go onto your map, and I'm going to pause this, if you go onto your map when you've got your scanner open, and you deselect everything, selecting the little bookmark thing in the top left of the window. Select everything and make sure that's all turned off. You don't want to see anything except for your scan probe results and the cosmic signatures. That's all you want to be able to see. And you'll notice that there are white dots on your map. Those are what are considered static orbital bodies. They're planets and their suns. They're things that do not move unless there's a Triglavian invasion. Awkward. But anyway, so those are orbital bodies. A signature, doesn't matter what, okay, a signature excluding sleeper sites will only ever spawn within 4 AU of any orbital body. So if you see a red ring, like this one, for instance, is above my head, and you can see there is one orbital body in the dead center, and then we've got a cluster of 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got a cluster of 4 off to the right of it. Now, I don't need to put probes around that entire red ring. I only need to get 4 AU of an orbital body. So you'll see here, I'm going to set my probes up, and I'm actually going to put them at 4 AU. Even though that bubble is probably, that ring is probably 16 AU, I'm only going to set it at 4 AU. And I'm going to put it square on top of the orbital body. So it is on the same X and Y axis. So you'll see it's set to 4 AU. And then I'm going to go over and I'm going to put it on the dead center, both X and Y. And then I'm going to scan, and you'll see I'm leaving out a massive chunk of this circle here. There's none of that being scanned because it's dead space. There's no need for it. So I'm then going to go ahead. I'm going to hit scan, and usually you'll get a scan within two scans. You'll have it at about 80%, and that will happen the majority of the time. The only time it tends to reduce is if you'll find you're actually picking up something like a sleeper site, for instance. Those, it will drastically reduce. In this case, it was a gas site. I got my first scan at 38.3%. It's no good. I'm not looking for gas sites. On to the next one. And I do exactly the same technique every single time. Set my probes to 4 AU. I'm only, again, scanning the first quarter of the signature. and then I'm going to go ahead and hit scan. And while I'm doing this, I'm actually running my sights, which I will explain shortly. Here I've actually got a double signature, and it's because I was too high. I didn't adjust the levitation, I can't remember, the elevation. I didn't adjust the elevation, so I'd only kind of, yeah. And then as soon as I readjusted it, it worked fine. So ultimately, set your probes at 4 AU, put them on the orbital body. That will give you everything you need. If you can't get it within that signature, it's probably a sleeper site. You don't want it. Move on to the next one. I do exactly the same thing here every single time, and it works. So yeah, there you go. Scanning. So this is what we're doing. Following the route that we set, which was 81 jumps, 83 jumps, something like that. Following that route, we're going to go into each system. We're going to run 2 specific combat anomalies, cosmic anomalies, which are hideaways and refuges. Not hidden hideaways, not, I don't know, something refuge, like it's just hideaway or refuge. In this case, it's the Garistas hideaway or it's the Garistas refuge. In Galente space, I think it's the Sancha refuge and the Sancha hideaway. In the Mimitar space, it's Blood Raider hideaway, Blood Raider refuge. So ultimately, it's whatever your faction is that you're in that space. It'll be their pirate refuge, their pirate hideaway. Not hidden, nothing like that. Just refuge, just hideaway. And you want to run them and you want to clear them. Go in, wipe them out as fast as you can. That's ultimately the goal. Get in there, get it killed, get out again. The reason why we're doing that is because when you finish one of these anomalies, there is a chance to get a escalation. And that's ultimately what we're chasing. We're chasing escalations and we're scanning down combat sites. The escalations, one of the things that I see a lot when I'm flying around doing these, one of the things that I tend to find that I'm seeing people do is that they'll go into these sites and the first thing they'll do is they'll take out the one thing that starts firing on them immediately, which is the turrets. Ignore them. Literally, don't bother with them. Shooting the turrets does nothing but end your chance of an escalation even faster. Because once those have died, ultimately you're killing the rest of the spawns that would follow. So, hypothetically, here, this one that I'm doing now, if there had been 2 turrets there, when I killed the 2 turrets, those last 3 that showed up wouldn't have shown up. So the odds of you killing a spawn off faster just by killing the turrets is amplified massively. So when you go into these sites, ignore the turrets. They are pointless. Go in, kill the NPCs, grab your faction rat if one spawns. Hopefully you get an escalation. If you don't, not a problem. Move on to the next one. Go to your next system. And ultimately, that's it. When you go into a system, if there are cosmic signatures, scan them down. Are they combat sites? Yes, fantastic. Then we're going to run them. Is it a wormhole? If it is, move on. Don't scan it down to 100%. There's no point. There's literally no point. And here you can see I've got a forlorn hideaway, a refuge, and a hideaway. I'm not going to touch the forlorn hideaway because the forlorn hideaway is only going to spawn as a 2 of 10. We're chasing 3 and 4 of 10s. That's what we're going for. And those would be Vigil, Hideout, Lookout, Scout Outpost, Fee Outpost, Narcotics Warehouse, I believe. So yeah, those are the ones that you want to be aiming for. So now we're going to get into the sites. So this is the first one. This is the hideout. When you get into the hideout, kill everything in the first room. Just wipe it. Just get rid of everything. Now, one of the things I tend to find when I'm running these sites is that the objective is left behind. Whenever you activate a gate in one of these dead sites, a pop-up will come up saying X needs to die, Y needs to die. Your loot is sat inside this. In this case, when we walked to this, it said that they're broadcasting from a weapons tower. Destroy the weapons tower. So destroy the weapons tower. That's what's ultimately going to give you your escalation or tell you that it hasn't. In this case, you saw it popped up saying that it has expired. There are no further steps. But if you don't destroy that tower and you leave, warping out, all you're doing is leaving it there for someone else to come and get. Now we're going into a lookout, I believe. Yes, this is the lookout. So this one's really simple. When you get into the lookout, first thing you want to target, the missile launcher. I know it goes against everything I was telling you about anomalies, but first thing you want to do, go for the missile launcher or whatever it is wherever you are. You want to go for that launcher and you want to make sure you take that out, because that is doing damage specific to your tank and it is just going to smash a hole in you. Just kill it really quick. Once you've done that, wipe everything out that's in there, and then that'll get you into the next room, because the gate is locked. Can't get in unless you bypass the gate. So we're going to kill everything here, and then we're going to activate the gate. He dies, we activate the gate. Now, when you get into this next room, there are 2 rats on the left side. You'll see them here. I'm circling them here, that one and that one. Kill those 2. When they die, there is a chance that a Dread Garista will turn up, or whatever faction you are, wherever you are. There is a chance that one of those will turn up. So kill those 2. If a Dread Garista spawns, fantastic. If it doesn't, then move on to the second bit, which is the bunker. Behind all of this will be a bunker. You see I've got it targeted there, and we're going to go down to that and we're going to destroy it. This is, again, what triggers your escalation. This is what is going to make you your money. You kill that, either it's going to have stuff in it or it's not. If it does, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I've never really found it to have anything good in it, but it'll come up and say something has happened. A signal has been detected, a trap has been sprung. I don't know. CCP have decided to give everyone free lollipops. Who knows? But ultimately, a message is going to pop up and tell you that something has happened and that you now need to go and follow this route. This is an escalation. That's what we're chasing. Once you've run the site, a pop-up will come up, your escalation thing will flash in the agency, go into it, check where the route is, and off you go. On to the next one. Here we're going to run the 4 of 10. Now this one, I accidentally stumbled into Galente space. But it's fine. My ship is set for Caldari and Galente space because it's kinetic and thermal. So should have been fine. But you can see here it says our agent has crashed somewhere along with his cargo. Retrieve it. So it's told you what to do. Go and get the cargo. So we're going to go. In the middle of there is a cargo container. We want to get it. To get it, you've got to kill everything. So we're going to go in and we're going to absolutely slaughter everything, wiping it all out until everything dies. Which is fantastic. You can see there I made a couple of mistakes where I was sitting still. And we're just basically going to wait for everything to die. And then when everything dies, we loot the container. And we get the key and we're through. So, once you've got the key, activate the gate. Just a heads up, if you are running this and someone else comes into the site, as you can see, I don't know if you saw it at the very end of that, someone else actually came into the site. Let's see if I can catch it again. There we go. Look, you see, 2 people came in and they killed 4 NPCs they killed. 5 technically. But they came in and they killed those 5. Now, if I'd have just gone now with the key in my cargo hold and activated the gate, that gate is live for 30 seconds. So the minute you activate that gate, anyone in range can activate it as well. They don't need the key. That gate is open for 30 seconds. If someone flies into your site and you've got the key, don't activate the bloody gate while they're still in there. Just warp off. The gate's not going to despawn, the site's not going to despawn, the key's not going to disappear. Just warp off. Wait a minute. Keep your D-scan open. Check in to make sure, have they moved on? Have they gone? Yes, no, maybe, perfect. And then once you know that the site is clear, go ahead, go in and activate the gate. Once you're in, this one was a bit hairy. Granted, I made a mistake, and my mistake was I had my micro warp drive turned on and I didn't have my transversal high enough, so I basically I take an entire room to the face, and there was a moment where I very much almost died, but ultimately I came out of this quite successfully and bagged just over 400 million, I believe it was, with the C-type armor rep, the C-type armor hardener, and a faction-specific one. But you can see here, my velocity is actually only at about 50%. And we needed that to be obviously at least above 75% so that the tracking wasn't going to be hitting me. It wasn't there, so I messed up and nearly paid the price for it and had to overheat quite substantially in order to stay alive, which is fine. I still managed to pull it off, which is good. And then he dies and we get shiny stuff, which is perfect. Skip forward because you don't really need to see. There you go. See, yeah, I'm in bleeding into hull, but he's now died. I now burn away so I can recover some of my shields, turn off all the overheating, make sure everything's good, turn around, charge back in at full blast. Again, another mistake. Don't ever do that. Never charge straight at someone that's shooting at you. Bad things will happen. Especially when you make a mistake like that. Because see, I slow down and instantly I'm screwed. But there we go. I've grabbed the loot and now I'm out of there. While heavily praying that I'm not going to die. And I didn't, which is good. So yeah, that's that one. Now we're scanning down, I believe, the Scout Outpost. Now, this one, again, Scout Outpost. The amount of times that I have stumbled across this 4 of 10 and no one has run it properly, they haven't finished it, is insane. Read the pop-ups when they come up, people. Just read the bloody pop-up when it comes up. It tells you what to do next. In this one, first room, basically purge everything. If you get rid of the Infernos first, they are going to basically make a beeline away from you. They're just going to, and they're going to run. Everything else in the room wants to get as close and fluffy and huggy as it can with you, which is absolutely amazing and makes, like, you know, rounding them up so much easier. But the Infernos, which you may know as mowers or you may know as Gilas, depending on where you preside and what you tend to favor for content. But ultimately, the Pitham Infernos, target them, kill them. Make sure they are your priority, and then just go to the gate and everything will come to you, and you can just smush it all, and you get kind of a really cool fireworks effect if you can do this. I think I do it here. Here we go. So I'm just going to start locking and pressing F1. I'm just boom, and they're just literally exploding faster than I can lock them. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. Like, yeah, I literally cannot lock them fast enough. So I'm having to overlock the number of targets just so I can get them killed quicker. But once they're dead, next room, you don't actually have to kill anything in the other room except for the big giant satellite dish. That's it. That's your target. Go into here. Don't worry about the NPCs. The NPCs are not the goal. Every time that I've come into this and I found this in space where it's been run, the fact that it's still there says, yeah, they missed the satellite dish. They've come in, they've killed everything and nothing's happened and they've gone, okay, and left. Kill the satellite dish. Tells you in the pop-up, kill the satellite dish. So just go in, target the satellite dish, kill it. I got the C-type multispectral invulnerability field from this, which again, 220 million. Took my entire total with this and an implant blueprint that I got to about 680 million in total. And that's it. That's the method. Go to a system, run the anomalies, hideaways, refuges only, run those. Once you finish those, move on to the next one. Scanning down combat signatures while you're going. You're looking for hideouts, lookouts, vigils, scout outpost, or fee outpost, or whatever the Blood Raider equivalent is, whatever the Amar equivalent is. Ultimately, that's what you're doing. That's what you're chasing, is those sites. Hopefully, you get an escalation, and that's all we can hope for. And in fact, I believe this is our escalation. Led into that quite well. Probably should have done that a little better, but it's fine. Yeah, this is the escalation. So you'll see here, again, I'm targeting the two groups, and I'm going to fire one shot at each to get their aggro, and then I'm going to make a beeline for the gun. First thing I kill. Shoot him, unlock that, kill gun. We go in, we're going to kill the gun. Next room, we're going to go and... Come on. Get to the next room. Okay, we're going to activate the gate. Again, first thing I'm going to do, target the two NPCs on the left. Does it spawn a dread? Yes or no? No? Okay, next. Bunker. Kill the bunker. First thing that pops up, escalation. That's your routine. That needs to be your routine whenever you're doing this. You don't have to kill anything else that's in here. The only reason I do it is just because it's kind of fun. Main reason for it. In a normal week, I will probably average at about 2 hours a day. In an average week, probably about 16, 18 billion. There you go. There's the escalation. Trap was sprung, and you've received a signal. And then there you go. Escalation is telling me to go to Rarison, and that's where we're gonna go. And every single time you land in one of these locations, there's a faction rat, a faction-specific rat. So True Sancha, Blood Raider, Regarista, whatever. And then we're gonna go and get the loot, and again, that's where we get the blueprint from it. And that's it. That's literally it. The risks to this, like I said, bar gankers, the only risk there is not really understanding the mechanics of the game. Don't sit still. Whenever you're engaged, don't sit still. Put yourself in orbit and make sure that your momentum is going above 75%. If it's above 75%, they're not going to be able to track you. Unless it's a player. If it's a player, you might be screwed. But if it's not a player, if it's an NPC, make sure that your momentum is above 75%. As long as it's above 75%, they're not going to be able to hit you because your transversal velocity is going to be way too high, and you're not going to. And yeah, essentially you're going to make it. See, another escalation. Kill the Dreadgarista. That's all we've come in here for. Grab the Dreadgarista and get out. Set destination. Next one. Jumping. And then we're going to land. I think this is the last one. I believe this is where this ends, and it just kind of goes, okay, you're done. That's it. Escalation's over. You have lost the signal. The pursuit has died down. There you go. We open it up, and there we go. Mid-grade Hydra blueprint, which there were no orders for. However, as soon as I got a little bit closer to Gia, there were 223 mil, which is not bad. So yeah, that's it. Any questions? Like I said, if you're curious at all, or you're unsure about anything, feel free to hit me up. I'm on Twitch, like I said, every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Saturdays is Eve night. I start streaming at 7:30, and I will finish at either 10:30, 11:30, or 12:30, depending on the day. And yeah, that's it. Come by, ask any questions that you've got. If this video helped you, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more. I'm out. Have a good one.